Hi, it's Mike DelSignore, Massachusetts OUI lawyer. In today's video, I want to talk about what happens if you're charged with OUI and it's your second offense. The case is going to be heard in Hingham District Court. Important thing to know with a second offense. So I'm going to lay everything out very clearly for you. What are the license consequences? It's very confusing. Lawyers mess this up. How do you get your license back? First thing. So you need to know what are the downsides if you take this case to trial. What are the upsides to winning at trial? Second, you should know the court process, but in this video I'll remind you what the court process is, how I evaluate the case. Could be you just admitted to a continuance without a finding on a case that maybe I would have fought, or you didn't think it was a big deal. So a lot of times people with their second offense, even though they've been through this once, they really didn't put a great effort into it on the first time, or didn't really make an informed decision. So starting now, we'll review everything and see what we can even do about that first case. So let's talk about that first case. So the first OUI you had, if it's between 2012 and 2019, and you took a breathalyzer, I might be able to vacate the plea and undo that case. What does that mean? You'll have to go back to court on that case. They could potentially still prove that case, but it would be a major help to you. So if you, let's say you took a breathalyzer and it was over the legal limit. Then instead of having a second offense, you're going to have two first offenses. It's even a bigger impact if you refused, because if we can vacate that first case, it's going to knock down the 3-year refusal for a second offense to 180 days. So that's the big thing on a second offense. If you refuse, it's a 3-year suspension. So if your two OUIs are within 10 years, that's basically your standard second offense resolution. So you're going to win the case, otherwise you're not going to get your license back prior to 3 years, unless you can vacate or undo that prior OUI offense. If your two OUIs are outside of 10 years, you can potentially get your license back with an interlock device. It's called the Cahill resolution. So you need the judge to treat the OUI second as a first offense, give you the same penalties, the 24D program, 45-day license loss, and if you get that, you'll be eligible to get your license back with an interlock device. Now, the RMV may deny your request to reinstate. So if you have a bad driving record, or if there's something about the case that catches their eye, they may deny the reinstatement. And I've had them do that. But then if you go to the Board of Appeals, you're likely to be successful and get fully reinstated with your license. So there is that option of taking the case to the Board of Appeals if the Cahill hardship is denied. So just be prepared for that. It's not automatic that you're just gonna get back on the road quickly. There still might be some fight, but at least there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Where in contrast, if you refused a breathalyzer and it's within 10 years, there's really nothing that can be done other than to win the case. Fortunately, these OUI cases are very winnable. Now, first offense, you may not have really fought the case like you should. Field sobriety tests. These tests aren't accurate and reliable. A lot of people can't do a one-leg stand or 9-step walk and turn where they've had no alcohol at all. You might have a medical condition that affects your balance. So you're gonna need to make sure that you put your best defense forward when you get a second offense. Make sure you have someone that knows how to fight the field sobriety test, who's done a lot of these. I've done a lot of OUI cases over the years. I know what to look for in the reports. I know the common errors officers make to make these winnable and beatable cases in court. Now, if you took a breathalyzer, it's over the legal limit. These tests are not automatically admissible. We can still fight it. There's motions we can do to legally try to keep that results out of evidence. But the most important thing to understand is, let's say you need to drive for your employment and the two offenses are outside of 10 years. You do have an option. There's a way to get back on the road. If you took a breathalyzer and it was over the limit, and your two OUIs are within 10 years, then you would have an interlock device for 2 years. In contrast, if you refuse, you're gonna have the interlock device for 5 years, 3 years plus 45 days for the OUI suspension, and then an additional 2 years later. The second offense is very complicated. It's probably the most common question other lawyers call to ask me about, like, what's the Cahill, when can they get the license back? I've been dealing with this for years. I've spoken to the RMV. I've spoken at seminars. I've really studied this. I spend basically my whole week explaining this issue, dealing with license loss, talking to people, helping people get out of an OUI, win their case, preparing cases for trial. So I'm doing this every day. It's my passion, helping people get their lives back together after an OUI case, and I can help you. Call, text anytime, 781-686-5924.